Welcome to the beginner series. So we're going to go into, today we're going to talk about rotation. We're going to do exercises, nice simple exercises using the idea of concept of rotation. And I want to go back to it because it's such an important part of how we move as a human being and how we move our physical body. And we're going to learn how we do this energetically, not just physically. Yep. But before we do that, we're going to bow. So we'll welcome everybody in the class. If you'd like to, you just put your name if you haven't done one of the classes. And I can say hello, just say hello to me, and then it comes up on YouTube and I can say hello to you during the class. If you don't want to do that, it's fine, but you can if you want to. Always like to know I'm teaching. So roll back onto your thumbs. Roll back on your thumbs. So you have your hands on the side of your body, you roll back onto your thumbs. I'll show you this from the side. Your hands like that, and you roll back onto your thumbs, and your thumbs are still touching your hips. Good, and then you bring the hand around. Left hand underneath on top, left underneath, right on top, and then two thumbs touch each other, make a little circle. Yep. And gong. Gong means bow. Bring your hand up, make a fist with your left hand, cover it with your right. Then open your palms, bring the energy to your heart, and then you bring your energy down to your lower dantian, which is your physical center. That's underneath your tummy button in the middle of your body. So you're returning the energy back from your heart energy, or you're grabbing it from outside, bring it to your heart, and then taking it down into your physical center. Very cool. Good. So rotations. So the basic rotation, we'll start with a warm-up exercise to do this, and that's quite simple. And all you have to do is just turn from your hips. And you turn from your hips and let your arms just hang. Now you'll see lots of people doing this exercise. It's very common, and it goes way back into Taiji as well. Taiji does this as a warm-up as well. Because what's happening with this exercise is as you're turning your hips, it's not a shoulder exercise, it's a hip. You're learning to move your hips to move your body. Some people, when they first start, they use their shoulders to do this. It's not a shoulder exercise, it's a hip. So you're moving your hips backwards and forwards, and your arms and your shoulders are just hanging, and they just following your hips. And you're turning your hips nice and smoothly from side to side. Yep. And this is the idea of this exercise. And we're learning that our physical center, which is our lower dantian, which we were just talking about, the energy is coming from your physical center into your hips, and then the energy is moving your hips from side to side. Yep. Very good. If you want to see the advanced understanding of what we're just talking about moving from the hips and doing the rotation, watch the advanced class I just did before this one. It'll be up on YouTube as well, and you can watch that one too if you like, and it gives you a deeper understanding of this rotation. But for this stage, for the beginners one, we're just learning how to rotate to start off with, and we're just moving from hips from side to side. And all you have to do is relax. And you relax your knees, relax your ankles, relax your shoulders, relax your elbows, relax your arms, relax your wrists, relax everything. And just do that. And by doing this exercise, what it does, it gets the energy moving up and down your legs. It gets the energy moving in your shoulders. It gets the energy moving in your arms. It gets your energy moving in your spine, and all through your abdominal region, all your intestines, all your digestive functions of your body will change. And one of the things that's good for it actually helps to calm the mind, this exercise, because it's moving the energy around the body nice and peacefully, nice and slowly, and the whole body slows down and the whole body becomes calmer. Helps with the blood pressure, helps with the nervous system, helps with the circulation. Yeah, simple as that. And this is the rotation. And you can do this for a long time. It's such a good exercise to get the body going. And you can feel it while you're doing it. You can feel the movement in your ankles. You can feel the movement in your knees. Feel the movement in your hips, your spine, your shoulders. You can even feel the movement in your neck as well. Cool. Very cool exercise. I'm smiling. You wonder why I'm smiling. We have squirrels in our garden. We have lots of trees in our garden. And the squirrels out there, well, my dog likes it. The dog's going to run past in a second. The dog likes chasing the squirrels. What is it about dogs and squirrels? I don't know. But my dog likes squirrels too. She goes crazy. And I think the squirrels like to torment her. I think they jump from tree to tree in front of you just to annoy her. Life. Cool. Okay, so that's the warm-up. So understand this, and then you can do that. It's a good exercise to do in the morning to warm yourself up. In the morning when you first get out of bed, it's a really good exercise to do. There goes the dog. And it's a really good exercise to do if you want to quieten yourself down before you go to sleep, because it calms your mind. So this exercise before you go to bed is a great thing. You just do it nice and quietly, nice and smoothly. It gets all the body's energy flowing. It regulates all the body's energy. It free courses means it helps the energy move smoothly through the body. And as I say, it helps the mind and all the energy in the mind to calm down as well. So it's great exercise. So there's rotation. So there's a few exercises we're going to do. We're going to do a couple from the Ba Duan Jin that do rotation exercises to understand this idea of this tuning of the body. Actually, we'll do three of them. We'll do 3 different exercises, and we've done one of them before, but we'll introduce a couple of extra ones we haven't done yet. And the first one we're going to do is called Turn and Gaze at the Moon. Actually, we'll do one from the Ba Duan Jin as well. We'll do 4 exercises. So the first one is Turn and Gaze at the Moon. It's from the Ba Duan Jin Taiji Qigong system. And it's a simple exercise, but remember it's coming from the hips. So we're learning how to rotate our hips from side to side, and the rotation is generating the movement in the body. The movement's coming. It's not my arms moving, it's my hips moving, and my arms are following my hips. Yep. So start off with your hands facing towards the ground like that, and like a gap like that between your hands to the bottom. Good. Now we're going to go towards your right side. So I'll mirror you, go to the right. And as you turn to the right, you bring your hands up. Now you have to look at the screen to see what I've done. So look back at the screen. And I've got my hands up in the air, and I'm looking through the gap between the hands. So the two there, I'm looking through the hole between those into the distance. In this case, I'm looking at the trees. But wherever you are, you might be looking at the wall if you're inside. And then your hands come back down towards the ground. And it goes to the center, and then it comes up the other side. And the rotation's happening from your hips. And it comes down to the center. And then up the other side. So this is coming from a rotation from your hips. Comes down to the center. And up the side. So the hip rotation's happening smoothly. There's no start and stop. It stops at the end, of course. And then it comes down. As it comes down, the hips turn, and the hips, as they turn, they don't stop. They just keep moving. The arms just keep moving as well. So there's no start and stop except at the ends. Good. Now breathe out on the way down. Breathe out through your nose. And breathe in through your nose as you come up. Breathe out through your nose. Breathe in through your nose. Out through your nose. In through your nose. And just take your mind into your hips and feel your hips turning. And your hips are generating the movement inside the body. And you want to keep them nice and smooth. And come down. So when you're doing the rotation, when you do the rotation, don't lean to one side, don't move your weight either side. Make sure it stays directly in the center. So you're moving from the center. Back down to the center. Good. Up to the side. And down to the center. Good. We'll stay with the Ba Duan Jin Taiji. We'll go to a different exercise called wave hands and clouds. We'll do wave hands and clouds first. So the hand's going to come up. So it all comes from your hips. The hand comes up, and as it comes up, we turn. We turn our hips, and the hand comes up. Then we turn our body around to the side. So our hips turning brings the arm around, and then it goes out to the side, and then the other hand comes up. Then we turn our hips. We watch our face turn with our hand. Goes to the side, palm goes down, the other hand comes up. Look at the hand. Turn your hips. One goes down the bottom, the other just follows your head around. Hand goes up, other hand comes up. Turn your hips. Palm goes down, palm comes up. Turn your hips. So the whole energy of this exercise is being generated by the movement of your hip from side to side. Turn your hips. Brings the hands back across your front. Comes up. and to the side. Now we'll do one more each side. Now this is not an easy exercise to do. It's a bit complicated, so I'm going to break it down and make it easier for you. Do one to the other side, and then bring your hand down. Good. We're going to do one arm. So you can pick your right arm, have your right arm at the side. So bring the right arm up to the left one, just put it on your hip so you don't disengage that. Bring the hand up. Now look at your palm of your hand with your face. So you're looking at your palm, and then move your hips, brings it round. Then it goes out to the side, and the palm goes down. And then as it goes across the front, the hips turn and bring it across the front, and the hip brings it up. Then the hip brings it round again. Then the hip brings it back. So the hips are moving the hand. Hand comes up, face towards your head. Turn. Palm out. Down. Turn. Turn. Good. Turn. And so learning how to move our hips to generate the exercise is such an important part. It is in Qigong and in Taiji. Because a lot of the power comes from the movement of the hips. It comes from the ground to the hips, but then the hips are rotating. So this rotation of the hips, and it's a smooth rotation to one side and a smooth rotation backwards. Yep. So if I take the hand away altogether and put both hands on the hips that way, well, when I'm turning my hips, I'm going to one side and I'm turning back to the other side. And it goes to the same space each time. It comes back. I'm going to the northeast to the northwest. If north's in front of us, I'm going to northwest, straight across, northeast. Northeast to northwest. And it doesn't speed up or slow down. It just goes like slowly from side to side, like the pendulum of a clock. It's going from side to side smoothly. Good. So when we put the hand in, the hips still do exactly the same movement. There's no stop and start with the hips. The hand's following what's happening to the hips. And the hips are smooth from side to side. Very good. Sabrine, welcome to the class, Sabrine. Good to see you here. Now swap sides and do the other one. Do the other arm, same thing again. The hips turns, the hand comes up. Moving. Hip turns, hand comes up. Hip turns. Hand comes up. Very good. So this is the simple. And so all you're focusing on while doing this is your hips. Of course, our mind, because we've seen our hand, our mind's focusing on what the arm's doing. And so you have to learn what the arm does. I understand that. And then once you work out what you're doing with the arm, go back to just feeling it happening with your hips. Feel the hips moving and the hips feeling moving back. So focus on your hip movement, not your arm. But you do have to learn what the arm's doing, and I get that. Good. And then we bring both hands up, and then they both turn. Turn to one side. And the hips bring them both back. The hip turns one way, and the hip brings them back. Hip brings one way, hip brings back. Cool. There you go. So we do the same idea. We go to Rustles Lotus leaves, and this is Shirba Shir system as well. The hand comes up. The right hand comes up. It starts off relatively the same, but this time the hand turns to the front at the top, pushes the ear across the top, goes down. It's like standing in water. It pushes the water across. The water's up to your waist, and it comes out of the water, and the other hand comes up. Turns. Hips turn back the other way. Hand goes across, goes down into the water. Like we're standing in water up to waist deep in water. The hand goes across, the other hand comes out of the water, comes up. Turn the hips. Turn the hips back the other way. The hand follows it across. Into the water. Turn the hips. Goes across the water and comes out of the water. Turn. And press. Perfect. Down. Comes up. Perfect. And it's all coming from the hips. So once you've worked out what's going on with the arms, the same thing again, go back to focusing on your hips moving smoothly from one side to the other. Smoothly back. Smoothly back. Good. And then stop there. So that's 3 exercises using the idea of moving your hips. Yeah. Now I want to add one more piece to this. Now it's an advanced piece, but I think it's important because if you don't do this right from the start, so I think you need to learn it right at the very, very start about the hip movement. And that is that you don't move one of your hips forward, you move the other one backwards. So when I'm turning my hips from side to side, I don't think of bringing one hip forward and then bring the other one forward and bring the other one forward. I think of the exact opposite, which is the whole Qigong Taiji thing. I think of pulling one hip back. So when I'm turning, rotating, I'm pulling the hip back, goes back one way, and then when I go the other way, I pull the other hip back the other way. So I'm thinking of retreating as creating a rotation. Pull the hip back. So the retreating of the hips creating the rotation movement, not the hip moving forward. And this is correct. It's correct in martial arts. It's also correct in all of Qigong. You pull the hip back. Pull the other hip back. And get used to when you're turning, you pull the hip back, pull the hip back, pull the hip back. And learn how to do that and just keep focusing on that. So when we're doing our rotation, you're thinking of this. But I needed to add this bit because it's important to know what's driving the hip movement. The intention is not to go forward. It's to pull the other one back. And because we're going back, the other one goes forward. You pull this one back, the other one goes forward. So you're driving a yin-yang response. You're doing one thing to create a response on the other side. You're not just doing a forward movement on one side. It doesn't work that way. You're doing a yin to do a yang to do a yin. And it's creating that movement. Yeah, it's such an important thing. Okay, so we're going to do one last one. We'll do an exercise from the Ba Duan Jin exercises. This one's called Turn Behind and All Illnesses Dissipate. Very long name. Turn Behind and All Illnesses Dissipate. So I'll show you what it looks like quickly so you can get an idea of well, I'm going to do it for you so you can see it. It looks like this. And then I'll break it down and show you what I'm doing. Yep, it looks like that. Good. Okay, we come down. So when we turn, the hand goes above the head. So the palm's above the head. And the other hand, the fingers are all touching the thumb. They're all touching the thumb, and it's turned up, it's facing up your spine at the back. You can't see that because it's behind me. It looks like that. I'll turn around so you can see me. It looks like that. I'm turning around like that. When I turn around, it looks like that, and I'm looking behind myself, and the fingers are facing up my spine. Yep, very good. So come back to the front. So we're going to turn to the right, the hand comes up, your left hand comes up, turn to the right. To the back. Then bring your hands around now. So first of all, you're going to learn how to do the exercise with your hands above your head, other fingers up your spine. And it turns around, you just swap hands over. That one goes up, one goes down. Palm above your head, facing the back. Palm above your head, facing the back. Turning. Good. Now that you've worked out what's going on in the hands, now go back to focusing on your hip movement. The hips turn right around, and then the hips come all the way back. So the hips are doing a big turn as far around as you can go, because you're stretching, and then back to the front. Turning. Very good. Now somebody was just queuing there. What's the breathing for? I heard you thinking this. See, even if you're online around the other side of the world, I can still hear you thinking, what's the breathing for the exercises I heard? Good. So you breathe in when you come back to the center, and you breathe out when you go to the back. Breathe in when you come to the center, and breathe out when you turn to the back. There you go. Breathing in and breathing out. Good. And come back to the center and bring your hands down. There you go. That exercise is really good for balancing the 7 emotions. The 7 emotions, if you're not sure what they are, you type in the 7 emotions in traditional Chinese medicine on Mr. Google, and I'll name them for you. And it also is good for the 5 yin organs. Yeah, that's good for the heart, the spleen, lungs, kidneys, and the liver. Yep, so it's good for all of regulating all those exercises. So hopefully you enjoy that. So remember, once you've learned the exercise, the physical part of that, waving the hands around, then learn how to focus on your hips. We're retreating your hip, and learn how to move from your hips all the time. And learn what that feels like. And part of the practice, the beginner's practice, is to know how to do this efficiently. And so when you're doing rotation exercises, now any exercises, you know it's coming from the hips, and you know that it's retreat of your hip, and you know that the hips are nice and smooth, move one way, smooth back. And the arms are coming from the hip movement. This is like the end of the whip, and this is the whip. This is the stick of the whip going whoop, and then the hands go out and flick at the other end. But it's coming from the end of the whip, which is inside your pelvis, inside the physical center, actually, if you go truthfully. Very cool. Have a beautiful day. If you have any questions about that, please ask. And otherwise, I'll see you next week. And have a beautiful week, eh? Go and ring a friend you haven't seen for a long time or spoke to for a long time. Ring a friend and say hello. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye. Roll back on your thumbs. Left hand underneath, right hand on top. 2 thumbs together. Cool. Make a fist with your left hand. Cover it with your right. Bring towards your heart. And then down to your physical center. Perfectly. And then step back and bow to everybody who's doing the class with you today. And then also bow to everybody that's going to watch this video. And believe it or not, my voice has got a bit. But we're going to be able to, in 10 years' time, somebody watches this video, I'm saying hello to you right now. Well, I'm actually saying goodbye. And I just bow to you in 10 years' time. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.